Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's study session. We're going to look at early position, 40 big blinds deep, range construction. So this is going to be under the gun and under the gun one. But before we do that, we're going to take a look at the Kelly betting theory and why it affects our pre-flop bet sizing at different stack depths and how the solver uses it to try and figure out the best decisions and good decisions when there are close decisions, which is something that we've seen over the last few weeks using the GTO Wizard tool. So I'm going to share a screen. This is the idea of the Kelly optimum bet theory, in that there was a point of equilibrium where this is your best decision. And decisions that are relatively close to it are going to yield really good results. But as you get 1 degree further away, your decisions become much less optimal. So if this is, say, betting 50% pot, this would be representative betting 45% pot or 55% pot. Your loss is going to be pretty negligible. And here would be betting 40% pot, and here would be betting 60% pot. You're still doing okay. But as you start getting further and further away from the optimal size, you stop getting a double check mark and move to a single green check mark, and then get a red mark for missing the goal completely. I'm going to talk about this with pre-flop bet sizing too. There are a lot of people who use kind of one bet size and say, well, it applies to all situations, right? I just bet 2.1 or 2.2 chips. But we're going to take a look at an example today where you're in a pot 80 big blinds deep and you use a 2.1x sizing for all of your raises. You get called by the big blind only. So there's 8 people who ante, 0.1 chips. There's the small blind that folds, 0.5 chips. 2 people, the position you're in, and the big blind who are in the pot. You put 2.1 in the pot, and you have 5.5 chips going into the flop. If you bet 33% on the flop, that's about 1.8 chips, and you get called. There's 9.1 chips going into the turn. 5.5 plus 1.8 plus 1.8 gives you 9.1. If you bet 66% on the flop, sizing up, 6 more chips go in there and bring you to 21 chips going into the river. Where if you have a pot size bet, you get 63 chips out of the pot, right? Seems pretty reasonable. If you just make the slight adjustment of raising to 2.75 big blinds for your opening size, right? So all of the same variables continue, same small blind, same ante. You start with 6.8 chips in the pot. With a 33% bet in the flop, you get 11.2 going to the turn. Where a 66% pot adds 7.4 chips, going with 26 chips to the river. And if you pot the river, you get 78 chips. Now I know that 78 chips and 63 chips, that's a pretty big deal. 15 big blinds for just altering your pre-flop bet sizing a little bit. And, you're not always going to get to the river, right? But, even adding 5 big blinds on when a person folds the river, calls the turn on a draw, tries to get there and folds river, 5 more chips is a good deal, right? And even adding 2 chips when they just call the flop and then fold is a good deal. How often do you play a pot where you bet the flop, a guy calls, you polarize the turn, and they fold? You could earn 2 more chips just by doing a little more bet sizing pre-flop. So if you're struggling to be a winning player in the game, consider maybe reducing the amount of tables you play and working on your bet sizing. Jonathan Little's masterclass has come out with bet sizings that start at 22 big blinds, where he advocates going for 2.25 big blinds, at 35 big blinds going for 2.5 big blinds, and at 60 big blinds going for 2.75 big blinds. So there are different people who advocate for different amounts of blinds per, but the idea is that you should have a progressive amount of blinds increasing as you get slightly deeper. If anyone wants further information about this, shoot me a message afterwards on Discord, and I can give you a little more to that. We won't go into a lot more depth about it, but when we get into solver work, we'll touch back on the Kelly bet theory and come away with a little bit of that. Before we get into there, we will take a look at our range construction pre-flop. Over the last few weeks, we've been working on our pre-flop range construction. And so when we were on the button, we were opening with our offsuit eights and our suited fives. And so for me, to remember this block, I used the number 85 and put the sports star, the former Winnipeg Blue Bomber, Milt Stiegel, who wore the number 85. So he's a hometown guy for me. He's easy to picture, sitting in that spot. And I know that I'm going to pick this block of hands, and then I'm going to pick a few more hands along the pair axis, some of my best aces and kings and queens that can make flushes, and some of my extra aces and kings on the offsuit side. But if you remember the 85, you're going to nail the majority of this block. And if you know that you have a few extras here and here and here, you're going to get most of what you should be raising first in. As we went around, we saw that change and become sixes and nines and become sevens and tens and become eights and tens. And now today we look at the positions that we're in. So here we have eights, which are slightly mixed, and jacks, which are in their pure. And again, if you're doing this block, you're good. You have an extra one or two here. You have some extra of your best suited aces and kings up here. And on your jacks, you have one extra king and one extra 10, maybe a little bit of extra ace if you're frisky, maybe a little bit of this if you're frisky. But if you're not finding these slivers, you're going to not be missing an important part of the strategy. You're still going to be getting the bulk of the strategy, which contains the highest value cards that you're going to open. And then from under the gun, we have the jacks and the nines. And these are going to compose the bulk of our strategy here. The idea that the earlier position you're in, the more risk you face of multiple opponents or even one single opponent picking up a really big hand that is going to be dangerous against what you're opening. But you still do need to get in there and battle for pots, because if you don't, you're just going to blind out too many times. So when we're in here with this type of a structure, we are highly compressed. You'll notice now we lack board coverage really in this big area here. So before, when we were here, we still had some board coverage in most of this area. Really didn't have any twos, threes, or fours, but we had some fives and sixes and sevens and eights. But now when we get here, we come in here with really not many combos that have anything under a 5, right? We're not opening twos, threes, and fours at full frequency. We're not opening ace deuce, right? We're not opening ace 9 off. So we get a really compressed range. And so for us, when cards fall in this range, It's really good. And we're going to see sometimes today where we get to size up when two cards fall in this range. So before, from the blinds, we had a lot of small betting, or from the late position, we had a lot of small betting, kind of across a lot of boards. Here, we're going to see that the flop texture is going to affect our bet size a little more today. So we'll look at a couple of quick examples that I have preloaded on here. Oops, it is going to take a second to open these up. GTO Wizard, when you open through an external link, gives a 15-second window to allow you to not have preset solves ready to go for if you are playing an event and are doing robot work on the side. So on a flop like Jack 5-5, we have a 20% check and a 73% bet of this size. We have a lot of jacks, but we don't have a lot of fives. But what we have that our opponent does is we have a lot of overpairs that are bigger than 5, and they lack these big overpairs that they 3-bet. So we have a lot of these. Our opponent has a lot of 5s. And so we want to push our equity advantage with our big pairs a lot for a little bit of money. Right? If a lot of money goes in, we're just going to reduce him to having a 5. And so the rest of our range gets to benefit from betting small here. But when we take a look at the next solution, again, we have a brief pause here. Where we have a Jack 5. Now we don't have any checking. We still have 70% betting here, but we also start to size up a little bit. We have more of the 1/3 pot betting, as our range is much more protected by the fact that we are loaded with the best jacks here. Now our opponent is going to have all of these extra jacks too, but they're also going to have all this garbage in here, which is just going to make it hard for them to continue a lot. So we see a lot more betting slightly bigger as the pair connects with our range a little bit better, particularly our best jacks here against his hands, which are going to have a lot of worse jacks than us. See if I could open both of these at once. Wizard. We'll open both at once here. Here, yeah, it's doing it. So I'll also this one then too. Try to save time and open things before the meeting starts, but then let's get there. So under the gun opens up, and the big blind calls, and we get a Jack 6-5 flop. So again, we don't have a lot of coverage in the 6 and 5 area. We do have a lot of coverage in the Jack area. So we're going to be mostly betting this flop, and we're going to be betting it about half the time small and about half the time large. And we're going to contrast this with when the flop is King Jack 5, where we have two cards that are particularly good for us. We now almost never check this, yielding almost a 50% small bet size and a 45% big bet size and some over bets as well. So the difference between these two, the checking goes down, and here you have 40% small bets and 50% big bets. So when there's more cards that are better for your opponent's range, you tend to have what's thought of as a bit of a polar response. Your best hands, your pocket queens, your ace jack, your pocket kings, your ace jack, these hands want to bet big and bet big a lot, which means you need some bluffs to go along with that. So that'll be your ace four wheel draws here, which interact with the 5-6, your king 6, your king 7, right? Are going to bet big with this type of board. 8-7, when you have it, you're going to bet it a little bigger here. And so you're going to have less overall bets and more big bets. And on this board, we're going to have more small bets and less big bets because we are just going to have this a lot. And now our range is almost never checking here, right? Kind of pocket 10s, pocket 8s, pocket 9s are the hands that want to check here, right? Being kind of the strongest third pair. So we'll get into some solver work and we'll see what type of stuff pops up as we go today. Oh, did I show you guys the ace high solution? Oh, okay. I'll show you one more. So before we looked at monotone flops and how generally you could just bet kind of one big blind or 1.2 big blinds, this very small size, very frequently. Specifically on the ace high flop, the early position loses so much of his suited combos when the ace flops that checking is a very prevalent part of this strategy. There is betting, mostly with this block of hands in here, which lack a pair, lack a draw, right? Or have a made flush. But there is a ton of checking on an ace high monotone flop here, which is not the most intuitive thing because generally we just bet monotone flops, you know, throw one and a half chips in the pot and away we go. Just keep betting. But ace high flops, not so good for us here. Under the gun, are we going to open ace 7 offsuit?
Nope.
Ace 9's our bottom, ace 10.
Let's take a look. Yeah. So under the gun, we took a look. So we are going to be with our suited 9s, offsuit jacks. So ace 9, mixing a tiny sliver that gets in there. Ace 8, ace 7 are going to fold. But yeah, we just are super tight in here. And the key to remember is our jack 9 block. This one. King 9 suited. Definitely going to rumble. All right. Does anyone want to take a shot at if we bet? And if we bet, what size do we want to bet?
I think we're betting small frequently.
Frequently and small, says Corey. Let's take a peek.
1.2.
Yeah, 1.2.
Medium.
We just looked at it, right? There's like jack 6-5 that you said, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Small. You can go medium if you want though. Let's see, like you can go big.
Yep. So we'll take a look at this specific example, but there is going to be a bit of sizing up here. Again, it's the king is just the
Probably
really
like our better
important part.
kings and like our draws, maybe too.
We do have lots of better kings here, than the king nine.
Maybe backdoor a spade too.
So king queen, it's got more prominent, bigger sizing. King nine has some. As you can see, our range is 60% betting small, so it is betting small a ton here, sizing up a little bit based, on a mixture of our value and our hands that need to generate some fold equity.
Reiner has his hand up.
Hey, Reiner, you have a question?
Yeah, I've never asked this before, and tell me if I'm out of line, but is this a spot where a potential exploit could be put into play, specifically if our opponent in late position is really aggressive? Are there some, like, it looked like check was it was only like 2.2% or just not used at all, but could it make sense to check with a marginal made hand against a really aggressive opponent who would take stabs at boards like this?
So yes and no. The time where you're going to do that is the turn, right? So this spot, your hand just wants to bet too much. But on this turn, when we get here, if say the turn is the deuce of clubs, there's going to be an element that's going to check back to try and induce him to bet on the river, right? Because remember, when we bet small, he's going to continue with a 7. He's going to continue with a 5. He's going to continue with some single ace of spade hands, right? And an aggressive opponent is going to look for us to have some weakness. So on the turn where we normally polarize, we're going to protect our range by finding some checks. We'll take a look at that one here, assuming this opponent continues on past the flop. So we give it this little bet, and oh, good, he gave us a call. All right, 8 of love. Are people going to want to bet or check?
Betting 7.
Okay, we got one for some heavy polarization.
I'm probably checking.
I go 4.7.
Okay, 4.7. We got some checks. So we have
I might find a check here since the 8 kind of hits his range better, I think.
for sure his continuation range is going to have some 2 pairs here now, right? So is this going to check? I think it might, but it's also going to have some big bets with the board being so draw heavy here now. Very draw heavy board.
Plus we have the 9.
We are ahead, but when the board texture changes on the river, it's going to be hard for us to bet here. So if we take a look at this solution here,
So like king 10, I don't know that, well, king 10 might do that as well. King jack, maybe not.
flush draws, yeah.
King jack's going big too.
King jack is going big.
Not as much, yeah. King 10, not as much. King 9's got the direct, like you got redraws there too, if you ever need it.
Yeah, you block his best value, right? You block his made hands of 69 here, right? And you have a king that can get value and has a little bit of redraw equity. King 10 is in much more precarious position. So like here we would say, Reiner, as to your previous question, are you going to have some traps here with your best top pair? Yes, you are going to try and induce a river bet by checking king 10 suited and king 10 off here. And even king jack and king queen off, you're going to have some checks, particularly when you don't interact with them here, right? It wants the queen of hearts to check a lot. And it wants the king of hearts to check a lot, because you're going to block some of these continues your opponent has. It wants to bet with the spade, which is what he more likely has. So this is the point where you're going to find checks to induce traps with from an opponent on the river. Because I mean, on a deuce of clubs here on the river, you just have a very easy call if he decides to blast all his hearts and all his spades that miss and all the king's horses and all the king's men.
And to be honest, on that texture, when we're going with the king, we're just purely bluff catching. We're not really trapping.
Okay, flush completes. Board bottom pairs a 5, which he's called a lot. Is anyone going to bet? Stack to pot ratio is pretty close to 1.5.
I'm checking.
And you bet
Yeah.
2.5 to block or no? Is that proper here?
So we're in
We're gonna
position.
go block in position, so we can
Oh,
just
sorry.
realize our
Yeah,
equity really
sorry.
quickly.
Yep, no
Yeah.
problem.
And then
So-
like, there's not many really worse hands you can get value from necessarily.
Check, yeah.
Okay. Can't convince you guys. Check is definitely the move here. You've gotten here. He's here with some 5s. He's here with some flushes. We've
Full
got
houses.
streets of value from worse kings.
Straights.
If you have the king of hearts, you definitely can blast this though, right?
I mean, I don't think you have to,
Well,
but you,
No, you can. I'm not saying you have to, but I think you can.
We'll
I
take
mean,
a
it
look.
feels better to bet with the king of hearts. Thin value.
So when he checks, the
No.
king of
Mm.
hearts is not really betting here.
So how about the king nine
Interesting.
of hearts?
The king nine of hearts, yeah.
'Cause that blocks the straight.
Well, yeah, king 10's our worst king here.
All right. Yeah, we don't
Right.
have offsuit.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so we don't really block it. What about yeah. Yeah, these guys don't find a thin bet here. It's it looks like it's 2 pair or better to bet the river. Right? King 8s are betting here mostly when they get here. So yeah. And then
Bluffing a lot of
7
ace.
checks.
We're bluffing a decent amount of ace highs. Ace nine, ace 10, ace jack.
Yep, those are all the ace of hearts.
Yeah, and then jack 10, queen 10.
Yep, that is all the jack of hearts. Your
Yeah, all
pots that
single
you're
hearts.
all in bluffs here, which is 30% of your range,
Wow.
all your single hearts that come to the party,
Yep.
right? Except the king, which has showdown. Good thing to find in game. The single heart wants to blast. The king, even the king of hearts, just wants to show down. Okay.
Full house.
Not
Full
surprised.
house. Look at him trapping like a boss. Takes the dog out for a little run.
Yeah.
All right. Pocket 4s, under the gun 1. Are we opening? And if so, are we opening at full frequency?
Let's try to go back to that last hand. That's a great example of why you don't bluff. That's why you don't donk jam that river with the nuts, because they're betting all their flushes. And like good players are gonna at least find a decent amount of the single heart bluffs. And some people will overvalue a king as well and bet. So like donking a full house there is probably losing your money.
I was trying to find folds with pocket 4s here.
I
Under the
call, I mean, I open
I think this
fours.
is a raise.
I think it's
It's
close.
it's threes that we fold, right?
Yeah. Deuces and threes we fold.
Yeah,
But
from
deuces
under
have
the
some
gun,
opens, I think.
you can kind of find these folds with 4s
Yeah,
sometimes.
Deuces and threes I fold.
Yeah, I mix folds with four sometimes for sure.
Yeah,
How
Here
deep are we?
deuces, 40.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So if you're finding a fold here, it's a little bit nitty, but not too bad,
I mix.
right?
If I'm at a table with a bunch of calling stations, like I'm not opening that. It's just gonna play pot multi-way with like a shit pair. You gotta try to just basically flop the joint.
All right, So 10, 7, 3 with the spade and the hearts. Betting or checking? And if so, how big?
I think this is a large better check. I don't actually. I'm checking.
Mostly check, yeah. Sometimes large bet.
I
So-
bet this, I bet
Maybe.
the small.
We just don't have much, like, we got like. Jack 9.
Mhm.
9, 8. We got some like connectivity with this board, but not a lot, so that's why I wanna check.
So for me, my strategy with these type of pocket pairs here in this spot is I am going to check all of the combos that don't block both continues. So I'm checking pocket fours when it's hearts and clubs, when it's hearts, when it's diamonds and clubs. But the one that I'm gonna bet is this one, blocking the chance of him continuing the most. And I'm gonna bet it big.
I mean,
So
I would
I'm
bet a
probably
big,
going-
I would bet a
pick
big
these-
on certain textures, but not necessarily this one.
He's gonna have a lot of continues here in this range, but he's still gonna get a lot of folds. And for me, this is the only combo that I'm gonna bet pocket fours with here. I'm gonna check them all the rest of the time.
But does having straight equity mean that we should check back more?
It's
Um,
bombing it.
I guess not.
Yeah.
No?
Not this one. We can take
It's
a
not
look at
this one.
other
I'm just
pocket
trying to think
fours.
of how I structure my value in my bluffs. Like, I'm gonna struggle to find. In my mind, I'm gonna struggle to find some bluffs here. But maybe, are we just range betting?
Yep, 80% of our range is betting. Pocket fours are going to bet a lot. Right? They generate fold equity with one big bet. Right? The 10 is still reasonably connected to our hand, which has pocket jacks. A bunch of 10s use pot size bets here and over bets. We have pocket queens, pocket kings, pocket aces, ace 10, king
Wait a
10.
second.
We just have a lot of hands that still connect with the 10 pretty strong.
Alright, well, I mean, I'm not, I thought, I didn't think we were opening like queen 8, jack 8. King 6, like 9, 7.
Yeah, under the gun 1 is going to be jack 8 as our block of hands that open. And then we have a few extra 10s that creep in, right?
Yeah.
These are only at about like 20, 30% frequency.
I honestly don't have those either, the jack 10, queen 10.
Yeah, but I
nine,
mean-
Ace
The
9.
10 high board probably makes a big difference too. Like if it was a
Yeah.
9 or 8, we're not gonna have near as many nines in our range.
Yes, once we go to a 9 high board, we lose all our offsuit connections with the board, and it's going to drive up our check frequency.
Yeah.
But the 10 is still good enough that it wants to go here. We get called. Equity shift. Straights complete. Flush completes. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. But we pick up equity with our flush draw. Anyone else want to do anything other than check here?
Turn back time.
I am going to check here with our marginal made hand that had one big bet, didn't get through, has a flush draw. Oh, happy days.
Bingo.
Now, how greedy can we get?
Not super greedy.
We go kinda big, but then do we fold to a raise? Like, what's the white color? I can't read the numbers.
7.5.
Even a set's a marginal made hand here with flushes and straights out there.
Yeah, I go somewhere between 7.5 and 10.5, and then I gotta really consider folding if they jam.
Okay. So 56 got there. He's gonna have some of that. But we bet big. I don't
Are we
know if the
targeting a
straight's gonna
call with-
raise it.
Jack 9, flushes.
I'm probably going 10.5 too. I don't know about 19.
Peter, you hovered over that bet 19 just because it went check, check on the turn and you're just getting, you want to extract some value from a king 10 or something.
Well, we're gonna be very polar here. We're gonna have some flushes. We're gonna have some straights that check. I don't know that we're gonna have many straights, but we're gonna have some flushes that check the turn. And so we're gonna have a very polar river response. I feel that there's gonna be some really big betting here.
Ship
I
it.
don't think this combo is over betting though. It's.
Yeah.
I mean, the 4 is way better for them, so. I mean, I think it's 7.5 or 10. Like I said, I go somewhere like 8.5, 9, but
So Ken's in the party here. We'll get there, but I'm my fingers are itching here.
might be
All
right.
So
in.
can I say, if you're
Sure.
over betting here, Peter, like, what do you want to call you? Like a 10 will never call you on the over bet and like bluff catch with a single pair on such a connected board. The ace of spades, king of spades will never call you either. So I don't really know, like the overbet's just taking the 13 in the middle. But if you want to extract value from like a 10 or something with one spade that thinks they got you, or 8-7 suited even, that's not spades. I think like 4.5 or 7.5 probably gets it done.
Well, I'm gonna have a lot of bluffs that, because the turn went check, check, that contain like the ace of spades and ace 9 off, right? Is gonna be a bluff hand that I'm gonna use this type of size with as well. So when I block the straight and the flush combo, I'm going to want to have a big bet size. And
I don't think
it's
your
gonna
9,
mess
I don't
away.
think any of your 9x with a spade are checking the turn.
Yep, maybe not. We'll take a look. Yeah, it's pulling the trigger pretty big, but the idea is just get big here. This is a value bet here,
Right.
right? Where we're pretty high up in range. Yeah, we're losing to straights. Yeah, we're losing to flushes, but when we bet this big, we put a lot of pressure on an opponent, right? To call with a hand like 10 jack with a spade. 10
I mean, he's
queen
got 2 pair combos too, still. Like, he's got 10-8 range probably still. He's gonna
Yep.
have like, 7-8 maybe,
What do you do if you go all in?
you fold,
Yeah.
right? When you bet this size, you still have some, when you bet these two sizes, you can still fold. When you bet this size, you put too many chips in here to really fold for only 10 more chips.
And in that spot, like if he goes all in, like you're almost always dead, but now you've kind of committed yourself.
So we get the fold through. And yeah, he just had a 7 there. But we'll take a look at the river, because this was a pretty interesting river spot. So when it comes to us here, what is our general strategy? So the sets, 3s and 4s are going for big value. 7s go for big value. So we still get here with a fair amount of sets. The higher our set gets, the thinner value it gets, because it blocks his hands that are easy to call with, right? Like he wants to bet small with 10s, because what's he going to call us with? It's going to be hard for him to find calls. And same with 7s, less with 4s and 3s. And 8s, for that matter.
surprised we're not bluffing ace 9. Is this, can you do this weighted? We must not have much of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, I'm surprised it's not bluffing it, but whatever we do have.
So yeah. Do it at full height. But yeah, we just don't have it a ton here on this line. Ace 9 off.
So it's not even betting flushes. Like the nut flush isn't betting, ace nine suited,
Ace nine suited.
it's checking
Uh,
back.
We don't get here with it, I guess.
Oh, it's out of range.
Yeah.
Wait.
Right, take a look here. Ace nine suited.
Oh, we have spades of
Yeah.
sliver. It is betting. I can see the bets,
Yeah.
now.
So it is betting. It's betting medium here with it.
Alright, I'll say, yeah, we bet them on the turn, right? Oh.
Yeah, you just don't get here very often with this combo. So it is betting the ace of spades. It bets as a bluff here. And it's using the white and the blue size, so the size that we were picking. The size that wants to use the overbet is 10-8 two pair, 10-9 flush blocking the straight. And these sets here, sevens do it a bit, fours do it a bit, threes do it a bit. And then the bluff with pocket twos. Anyone finding an all-in bluff or a 1.5 pot bet bluff with pocket twos here on the river containing the deuce of spades?
Louis, that's the guy.
Louis.
I mean, that's the
Louis
prominent
in
one
here.
too.
Yeah. All right. Under the gun one, Jack 10 off. Who wants to open? Who wants to
I'm in
fold?
it. I fold this, but we're gonna play it, I guess. Since it's a
Mostly
solver.
fold.
Fold.
We
Folding.
just saw this last solution, I'm pretty sure. Mixes
Okay.
tens.
I took a look through my database about a month ago for how I was doing with the offsuit tens from early positions. And my results were not good with this hand.
No, they're not. Mine aren't
So-
either.
I have pure pruned this from my game at this spot. So I am clicking the fold button here.
Yeah, I don't
But in the
play.
interest of getting in trouble, we'll give it a click and see what type of trouble we can wind up in, because I found myself not doing very well here. Because here we go. Ooh,
Tiny bet.
couple flush blocker, straight interaction, gut shot, no showdown value.
This already looks like 3 streets to go broke.
If we're gonna spew, this is gonna be it.
1.2.
1.2.
Polarized turn.
1.2 polarized turn. It's a good plan to punt off some chips.
He's gonna check raise a lot, so we might just be out of the hand. Well, we're gonna call, I guess, one if he check raises, so.
That's right. Yeah, it is going to bet these two sizes, primarily the size. It does have some checks here. Thank goodness. Maybe this is part of my strategy flaw. I'm probably never checking this hand
Me
here.
either.
And we get
Yeah,
checked.
it is.
But I mean, how could we fold?
I don't think so.
How
And we
could
do block a
fold?
lot of bluffs though, right? Man, I mean, I'm tempted to fold, but he's doing this with sevens too and like bluffs, so I mean, I think we call.
He gives us the check raise check. Well, you know that means we're supposed to bet again.
Yeah.
Check.
Yeah, I can't help myself.
I can't help myself either. We're gonna spew. Yep. Saeed's the only sane one who's checking here, but nope, we're got check raised again.
That's right.
Yeah,
Alright,
but that hardly ever happens in real life.
check raise, check raise. And he just shows us the bluff. Pretty sick.
And that's
Oh.
why you don't open Jack 10 off.
And this is why I have been working on pruning this from my game over the last month or so. That was savage. All right, ace 4 off under the gun. Not
Easy
sure why
fold.
we have this
Fold.
one here. Easy fold of laundry. I think we looked at ace 10 bottom of range there. King 3 suited.
Fold, king 6 suited is bottom.
Oh, it sounds like someone has some pre-flop range construction work that they've been doing. Easy fold of king three here. How about ace deuce, student? Can I get you to buy on ace deuce?
I stopped opening that too.
Yeah, it's probably the bottom. I'd say 3 and 4 is probably the bottom there.
Yeah, 50-50. Oh, shit.
I used to open all
So
my
this-
suited aces, not anymore.
Yeah, I used to open all my suited aces at full frequency as well, and now I'm trying to find this ace deuce to get loose with, and well,
What's
Like
the
ace-
bot? What's
I'm
the
like ace-
button? Is it ace four?
Yeah,
I'm like
what's the
ace four,
bottom?
ace five. I think it opens ace three though. But I
It's
don't, I
gonna
don't
open.
fuck around with it.
it's going to open ace three here. Ace deuce is the only one it's going to fold as the solution, but it's also going to be very low EV if you're finding opens with ace three here and ace
Yeah.
deuce.
I split my wheels. I got rid of the 2 and 3 and opened the 4 and 5.
One idea that you can do is as the pairs start to find folds,
Oh.
you could start to find folds with your aces that correspond with them.
So it's weird that it says 100% fold in the sim and there it's a pure call, open.
Funny how that is.
It's a little buggy.
Oh, because
Yeah.
we're under the gun one. Next end.
Oh,
Oh, that was under the gun range.
Oh.
That's right.
Well, we're getting out of trouble. We're making good decisions here. Being a
We've learned our
responsible
lessons.
person. Sober driver, all that good stuff. All right, 2.3. Let's go. Oh, happy days. Queen 8. 9, 10, jack. Lots of stuff to check raise us with in there. 7, 6, 5. Lots of stuff to check raise us with in there. I think we want to keep the pool wide for check raises here.
Yep.
Betting 2,
Yeah.
betting 1. Just not checking as a response here. You can't even size up a little bit, but I gotta say, I'm trying to keep the fish on the line and invite the check raise.
Well, size is up a little bit here because there's straights to the 8 and the queen, I guess.
Not anymore.
So, turn card pairs for our opponent. He doesn't
Did he
lead.
lead?
Did not lead.
Gotta go
Uh,
2.8 or 4.7 now, at least.
I think, well, we don't block the queen, so I think maybe we can go 7. I'm gonna try to get all the chips.
Yeah,
in.
yeah. Do we want to get all the chips in? So we might go 7-5.
4.7.
Is anyone checking here?
No,
No, we want to set up for river jam, right?
We do. We want to get the chips in. If we bet 7, he puts 7, 14, 22. It's going to be close. This is the only spot. This is the only size we're going to be able to bet that's going to be able to river jam.
but might go a little smaller actually, because it's gonna be tough to get them in. So 4.7 might be good.
He would just call with the 4. Or, I don't know.
Yeah, he's going to call with a lot of fours. He has 3 4s here sometimes. And
Yeah.
3 4s and a queen are probably both going to call this size bet.
Half his 4s
Yeah.
at least, Donk.
Yeah.
Check. Look at that.
Wow.
Mhm.
Well, I mostly bets, but like.
Mostly, yeah, mostly bet.
Oh,
Right,
yeah,
if-
EV is real close.
That's a lot of checking
If-
now.
Yeah,
if you
not to
look
check.
at it, yeah, 2/3 of the size wants to bet, 1/3 wants to check. But I did suspect that there is going to be some checking here to try and induce from him. Right? How many queens are we checking here? Right? Say we have, all of our suited queens down to, queen 9 and all of our offsuit queens to queen 10. What queens are we checking here?
I don't think any.
The better queens.
Let's take a look at that. Maybe that's a more pressing question here. This flop
Or all the queens.
on this turn.
No.
So these queens are primarily betting. Pocket queens finding a bit of checking. You will notice it is checking with ace queen here a bunch, particularly when it blocks with the heart. And it's checking some queen 9 and some queen 10 here as well. And this is the idea that on this board, you're either way ahead or way behind. And Ryan talked about this earlier. Are you trying to induce from an aggressive opponent? And ace queen, queen 10, and queen 9 are selected here to try and induce a river bet. Right? King, queen, and queen jack are mostly going for it. King, queen, and queen jack are mostly going for it. Right? So these ones around here are mostly going for it, but these ones have some checks in them. And you got to find some ways to protect your range here with your top pairs on the turn. Particularly when you have a polarized spot where if you polarize and you bet all of your queens big, when you check here, you just have very little in your range. So it even checks these 8s sometimes. Oh, because yeah. If we check these 8s, this is the type of hand that we want to get him here with on the river. And, you know, a card like a 3 comes out and he just has to bet. Right? And we have a very easy call with the queen and a very easy raise with our 8s. Easy deep bet. A 3 bet. Love it.
Yep.
That's right. We do not want to shove against his range, which is going to be a lot of stuff that's worse than ace jack and a lot of stuff that's better than ace jack. We are in the middle, so we want to keep him wide. And he comes up with a half pot bet on a king 8-3 disconnected board.
It's gonna be some folding here, I think.
Lot of folding.
Well, we have a backdoor flush, we have a backdoor straight, we have an overcard to the king.
It's gonna be mixing.
All right,
70% fold.
okay. I think if you're going to call pre-flop, I think you have to defend this hand 1 street on the flop. But we'll take a look.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of cards I can turn to give you equity.
The big thing for me is that we still have an overcard to the king. So if he has a king here, you know, we just have 3 really strong outs to cooler him for the rest of his stack. And we can turn backdoor straight, a backdoor flush, and we're in position. And king 8-3 is super disconnected. There's not going to be a lot of draws here for us to continue with. So this is going to be one of our best draws. So yeah, if you want to continue, like if you want to call this hand pre-flop, when you get here, you got to stick it out. So a hand like queen 10 of spades, I think is going to be a hand that might fold here. Yeah, queen 10 of spades, fold. Ace queen of spades, got to continue. Right? And it's having the overcard to the ace, right? Ace jack continues. And I think now we just give up. The size is down,
Weird
but
sizing.
milking us.
Yeah.
Right? We don't pick up any
Fold.
equity. Well, it still wants to call savage. All right. How bad can it be? But I am folding there on that turn. Well, I mean, it's 10 to win 60. How many bluffs does he have here with hearts? Don't have a king. It's probably gonna call. It's probably a bad strategy to call this in game. Okay, finally decides to fold. And yeah, there's the bluff. So he picked up, he continued with the bluff with the 6 being a card that's out of range for us, and the heart. He blocked our best floats that continue. So he bluffed turn, and then he gets here on the river with a card that again isn't in our range. And he's like, well, I only have 10 bigs left. You either have a king and are going to get it, or you don't have a king and you're going to fold.
Do you, I got a question. Do you 3-bet ace-7 off on big blind?
Yes.
Okay. And you do half size bet on the flop?
I usually do 33% on the
Okay.
flop, but I do mix half pot bets as well in there.
Okay.
Let me take a look. One
Yeah,
sec.
let's look at that versus under the gun. That's
Yeah,
a,
most of the people, I don't think that they do that.
no, first the button for sure, but
Yeah, versus button, sure, yeah.
So let's go back to pre-flop, big blind. So his 3 bets are going to come from these 9s that target our opens with our offsuit 10s,
Correct.
right? So he's primarily using these, but then the other element that allows him to 3-bet is blockers, right? So there's 2 ideas to attack range. One is the bottom of someone's offsuit range, so 9s against 10s, and then blocking the top of his value. And so it takes slivers of all these aces and 3-bets them, blocking his best value hands, aces and kings. Right? So is it a great strategy? Is it prominent? Not a ton, but I am for sure doing it here with ace 10, right? I'd probably overdo it with ace jack there as a bluff. Ship ace king, ship pocket 10s, struggle to find this ship. Yep. Probably overship ace king there. Under the gun 1, ace 9, bottom of range, getting in or getting out today?
Nah, I'll give him
Nah.
credit today. I'll give him credit today.
Okay, we'll let him live.
Getting in.
Yep.
Getting in,
Must
raise
have.
up. Okay, so the 10 is good, the 5 of the 4 is bad.
5.05, big bet.
Just range bet small again.
Okay.
10 high board.
Yep, 10 high board. So I think this is gonna have something like 25% bet checking. And then it's gonna mix these 3 sizes here pretty evenly. So I don't think you're gonna do anything wrong here with any of these sizes. Personally, I like this one. It's kind of a one and done here, not blocking any continues. I was a little high with the checks. It's only checking about 9%. And it is mixing these 4 sizes pretty prominent. I wouldn't be betting this with this hand particularly, but. Ooh. Just min clicks us. Spicy. I think if we bet big as a bluff here, I think this hand is probably going to want to fold, but like it has 2 overs. The downside to maybe
Backdoor
betting
too.
so big. Yeah. Guess it's probably going to call. Nope. It folds. When you bet as a bluff, and you get raised or you get called, it's time to give up your bluff. Oh, and he bluffs us. He bluffs our bluff with a bluff. Pretty spicy.
So there, if we were to bet small and get check raised, we more likely continue, right?
Yes, because his range isn't so polarized. He's check raising much more broadly on the high card, low card, low card board.
Gotcha.
So yeah, if we bet small and get check raised, we're going to continue there. Oh, 9-8 deuce. How much does everyone want to bet and how big?
Probably mixing the four sizes again, but
Big.
yeah, on the
A bit
bigger,
bigger.
on the bigger spectrum.
Okay. I am going to say it's only going to pick these three sizes, and it's primarily
Go in the
going to
middle.
pick these two. And my itchy palm says, I want to blast here. It's the medium, but it's okay. 30% of the time, you can do, if you get itchy, you can get after it. Mixing these two sizes is just fine. And even
Same
betting
as
a
me.
little bit to medium size is okay here. Whoops. So, continue. Gives it a call, and we get the double flush draw board. We block these 10 jack straight pretty hard.
Yeah, queen's pretty much a brick for him. He shouldn't have many queens, honestly, so we're gonna barrel again, right?
Huh? Are we
think
gonna
so.
get all the value in beforehand or just go for like a pot size bet?
What's the white color? I can't see the numbers in the white. 11.
It's
11?
11
Yeah,
and a
I-
half.
11, 22, 40 something. We'll have 19. I mean, I would go just a hair under 11, but not 7. I mean, 7 I think is too small. Maybe it does go 7.
Yeah, I feel like this hand
7,
might
14,
blast.
25.
So I have a question.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you're blocking the most obvious straight continues, the most obvious draw continues, double blocking it even, what
Mhm.
kind of cards do you think he's continuing with on the flop?
Pairs.
Okay, so like, he could have a strong 9x, so like ace nine is an obvious one.
Which should
So
raise some.
do we still wanna keep like going bananas, even though we kind of like, we really polarized the flop? And we got back strong information, like he's got pocket twos, he's got pocket eights, he's got pocket nines, he's got 9-8. At some frequency, although I imagine he would raise those sometimes, right?
He's
I
got
don't
Peter,
know.
did you go super large on this or did you use the,
Yeah, we went over pot on the flop. We went 7 chips.
well, I mean, yeah, maybe we do check then. I mean, I feel like,
Yeah,
I feel like the queen's pretty bricky. I feel like we can still bet 7, but
I don't know if we would go like absolutely bananas here, but I would probably like maybe go something geometric to set up a nice river shove or a check, I think. So like, I think 7 or 11 look nice, which are kind of silly sizings. They
yeah,
feel
11
silly.
feels weird.
It does feel weird. Maybe it just
Um,
goes 17. I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place. I see merit in both. I kinda wanna play check. Because
Are-
of what we
check.
do.
Are you guys finding checks here, though?
Sometimes.
It's a disaster if we get check raised.
So some of these boards like this, they do one of two things. They go absolutely bananas, super big, or they're gonna play check. To
Mhm.
kinda keep ranges wide. Like if you had jack 10 of clubs here. Like, you'd probably be pretty likely to play some form of,
You're breaking
Yeah.
up.
Yeah,
I don't
we're
know,
losing you a
sorry.
bit, Galen.
Sorry,
Yeah.
my headset's been kinda fried. Yeah, it's gonna either go check or really big, I think, but I don't know.
I think
I
so.
think,
Yeah, that's
I think
probably,
I'm gonna primarily mix these sizes here, double blocking the straight, double blocking the flush draws.
But that makes it feel
Yeah.
like a bluff to me.
No,
Well-
I'm going for value before the river changes the board. Because the board's gonna change on a lot of rivers here. I wanna get the money in while we're
mm,
still ahead, I feel. Because if we check, like, we're gonna face a shove on a lot of rivers.
Yeah, I just worry if we go big, we're not gonna be ahead of all of his continuing range at that point. So
Mhm.
it's like.
Yep.
I don't know. I go back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, if we're behind sets, we're behind sets, but like, those are all gonna, that river, and we're just, like, we're gonna have to call those sets on the river here a lot too.
Well, if you bet big here, I don't really, I can't even think of a river card that you're folding to. Like, I just don't think you fold the river, especially double blocking the flushes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
double
which is why-
blocking we're double blocking the nut straight too, so I think seven's probably good, honestly.
Okay.
So he's
We'll
not
take a
gonna
look.
check, if he check raises us here, we're just dead.
So 7 and 11. It is
7,
going for
11?
this like, it's going for this like geometric sizing, trying to set up for something like clean on the river. And like, it is leaning, like the EV is very competitive with checking. It would be interesting to see like what the strongest hands in the range are that are checking, or if it even is checking in the range.
Oh, take a look at that.
I like something just a bit smaller than 11, actually. Like, my first thought was 11, then I was like, ah, it just feels a little too big. 7 felt a little bit too small.
So it
all
looks
the
like.
Ace high flush draws look like they're checking.
Okay, so are we going primarily really big with those though? Like,
Yeah.
I guess they do fit into that range some.
Yeah, our ace high and king high flush draws are primarily checking here. And our non-flush related hands want to bet.
So what are the tens doing? Are the ones that don't block the flush draws checking more? They are. Okay, so that's kind of like. They don't, if you don't have the flush draw, they're kind of, you're putting the brakes on.
King 10 and ace 10, you want to be blocking those flushes to go for it. Pocket tens.
I'm just curious how much of this range you're actually like slotting into an overbet on the flop. That's my
It-
only issue.
It was about
'Cause I have a-
30%.
Yeah, I just have a hard time balancing that range sometimes. I don't know how many of those I use.
So pocket tens, pocket jacks, pocket queens, pocket kings, pocket aces.
Yeah, those are the easy ones to find.
Right.
Like like this king 10, for instance, is that like with the flush draws?
It's a little bit of
Okay.
everything, I think. You just matching your pairs with your Broadway draws, your over pairs and your Broadway draws, right?
Yeah.
Like the ace, king, ace, jack. I find stuff that can make it straight from the 9, so like, or from the 8. So like I'll find the queens, the jacks, the tens. I'm not gonna find like the ace, jack, ace, queen, ace, king does it like I learned that lesson. That they do a lot more checking. Both cards kind of want to be able to be involved in the straight.
So your king 10 does it here. Your queen 10 doesn't, right? Your king 10 and your ace 9 do it. Your king 10 that has interaction with the flush, both the spade and the heart.
Right, so it's
Right.
like your vulnerable nut hands, so your weakest over pairs, your vulnerable, your best top pairs. And then
Yep.
it looks like it wants to card match with the flushes and the straights for
Yep.
like. Your big bets. Yeah, pretty
But
cool.
not these ones here in the middle. The queen jack, the queen 10, and the jack 10, they all want to go smaller or check.
Yeah, which is pretty interesting. It doesn't prefer, it doesn't like a queen, it seems.
Yeah, I don't check them honestly enough. I'm betting them, like, cause I know if I'm betting my over pairs, I'm betting all those draws pure.
Oh,
too.
well, are we looking on the turn node or is this the flop? No, this is the flop node.
This is
never
the flop.
mind. Okay, yeah.
So our turn bet sizes. It still wants to bet here. And king 9 folds.
Right, so he had some of that. Yeah, I mean, he had one of those hands that you're really targeting to front load your value with.
And he has a little bit of heart blocker and he wouldn't
Can't
even
blame
call
the
the
guy.
small bet the second time. Okay. Under the gun, range construction. How often are you folding these fours?
I mean, I open fours. I think it's the floor. I start mixing folds with threes. I think it mixes folds with fours sometimes, maybe a little deeper.
A little bit.
for sure.
Well, oh boy.
There's some locked up equity here, so I don't think we go too big, but I'm gonna range bet this for sure.
Yep,
Yeah.
3.5.
Half pot.
I bet
Half-
5
I would bet two
really big.
probably.
I think it's true. Does he actually have ace queen? He has ace jack, right?
He
Um,
does have some
yeah.
ace jacks and he probably has some ace queens, although I think it's. Yeah, he will have some ace
I
queens.
think two's good.
Okay.
I would bet two personally, just because the fact that it's a really coordinated
Yeah.
board, but
goes
If
you guys are.
if you don't bet big on this board, on what board are you betting big?
Yeah, so
Well, so there will be some big bets on this board. I just didn't think the tan class was gonna be one of them.
yeah, so we looked at this at the beginning of the session.
Hmm.
And on boards where we just crush the cards that flop, we just don't have a small bet size very prominently.
Yeah,
And so
it doesn't look
this
to
is
be right.
range betting big.
Yeah.
And this is something that I think
Masterclass.
people miss in game is when you have two broadways on here, you have a lot of size ups in your entire range. And when you have three broadways on here, you just get to apply a ton of pressure against his whole range.
So is that true for three in a row? So like if it was king, queen, jack, would you see the same behavior? I imagine the availability of draws and stuff kinda acts as an equalizer there.
Yeah, like if we look at our range here, top pair 22% versus 15, two pair 12% versus 9, sets 4 versus 0, straights 3.8 versus 2. He's more competitive there.
Oh yeah, I mean, the graph tells the whole story, like,
Yeah, like
You can change that flop, can't you, right now?
yep, for sure. So instead of this, we'll go with
What Galen said, maybe with the king.
so
king of
like
hearts.
one thing that I kinda notice is like the more dynamic a board gets and the more locked up equity there is, it usually will drive down bet sizings in general. And like you can see, you can kinda see that here, like while there's still like a giant equity advantage, like between the graph. You can kinda see like two has become a much more competitive option.
So here where he's much more represented with ace 10 and 10-9,
Yeah, he's
it
just gonna have a lot
takes
of
away
tens and nines.
the biggest size, but it is still primarily using 55%.
And then if like, if you wrapped it around to make it a 10, like if you wrap it around to make it a 10 instead of the king, it probably will like even go even smaller, I think, primarily. I mean,
oh no,
somewhat.
he loses.
It's,
He doesn't have ace king here, so
oh yeah, that's a good point. So like, yeah, we
take the
we
queen
just
away.
flopped the nuts. Yeah, if you put like a 9, a jack 10 9, I imagine that will probably do it. Yeah, the ace king, I think is a big driving
Now
factor.
it changes that texture massively.
Hmm,
Right, so this is a much more contested board. Now like 1.2 is a competitive option.
So it starts driving down the bet size. But again, like when you start flopping 2 and 3 Broadway cards from under the gun and under the gun 1,
Yeah,
just
this is
time
a
to get-
different beast right here, right? Yeah, like, for sure. And like you said, like a lot of people are missing that in their game and like, obviously I was advocating for a small bet.
Yeah, I bet small way too much.
look at
As
this.
a
He
range bet, I
flops,
bet small.
Well, to be
flops
honest,
second
like,
pair and folds it.
like, I think the small bet, it's an efficiency thing to some extent. Like, people don't defend correctly always, so like, you probably get away with way more than you should with that small bet.
And that's a great heuristic for the cutoff and the button.
Mhm.
But here with our compressed range, we don't want to miss out on the chance to get big value.
Yeah, I
We're
agree,
not
Pete,
in
for
here very
sure.
often.
Yep, you're
Yeah,
right. I
makes
mean, you
sense.
get, this is like 15% of the range here, so like,
Yeah.
let's get some value.
Oh,
Yeah.
I made a
and get out
mistake
of
and
the way.
opened this hand. Okay. It's positive expectation, but it still folds.
Look at that, got you with the king 10 off.
I see.
We do continue here, I think.
Yeah, we've seen
Yeah.
this one before.
You can make a
Yes.
royal flush, it's gonna be good enough.
Better stuff and worse stuff than us here that he's three betting.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
kind of an
boy.
awkward hand, right? Because you're behind his value, but you're ahead of his bluffs. You gotta continue here.
Yeah, for
So-
that sizing, I think we,
Remember,
Call.
his three bets here are particularly designed to target our offsuit tens.
Yeah,
So we are not well represented with a 10 here, which is why he uses the small sizing. But we have a gutter. What are we gonna do?
got our backdoor flush, still can hit an ace.
Oh, all right,
Yeah.
time to give up.
you
Yeah,
can get out of the way now
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah,
Still
it's
actually
still
call
calling a
some.
little bit, but
That's
it's
pretty
it's a
wild.
losing play to call.
I was gonna say, that's
we
pretty
figured that
wild.
one out.
Oh, man, if the
What is
queen
this?
would have came, it would have been such a scam.
All right, Louis,
right.
where are you?
Yeah, thank you. I was about to say, don't
Get
Louis
out.
Philippe this one.
Louis Philippe, we did a study session just for you. It was the pocket deuce.
Now this on the other hand.
All right. Oh,
So this is a highly contested board, like he can donk this up. There's quite a bit of locked up equity here. Also. Do you ever, like, okay, so what do we do here? Would you advocate for a bigger bet here? This hand really kind of wants to, but I don't know if our range wants to go big.
Maybe
It's a polarizing flop, right?
infrequent big bet, probably.
so I think we are going to start with pocket eights, which are going to
Mhm.
bet and bet big often, and nines are going to bet and bet big often. And then as we move into the cards that don't interact with the straights, we are going to see them betting a little bit smaller and a little bit smaller. And then around queens, they're going to start finding some checks,
Right,
having protection against overcards. And so we're going to find pocket aces checking here maybe 30% of the time, kings 20%, queens
Yeah,
10%.
sounds good. I completely agree with that.
But this one's still going to need protection. Right? It fears the overcard. It fears it fears a lot. It's still best, but it's in trouble.
Like 3, 5, yeah.
Again,
Mhm.
checking much more prominent than I would have thought. We'll see if the
So
pattern.
it went for 3, which is like, this half pot size is like the small bet on a polarizing flop kind of bet.
Yeah, the checking is much more prevalent with the aces.
Yeah,
And
you
the
even
king.
underestimated the checking, like it checks a lot.
But eights and
Hit the
nines,
8s, 9s and 10s on the button though.
eights, nines, and
I mean-
tens find the bigger sizing a bit.
You're gonna have to with those cards for sure.
But I would not be checking jacks or queens here, right? Like I'm checking kings and aces here sometimes.
I'm with you, Pete. I'm gonna be just betting queens and jacks here, pretty full frequency.
Oh, the worst click back. Can't
I
fold.
mean, do you just go with it? Do you just put
Yeah.
put it all on the table here? No, you don't.
No.
You just call.
You got to keep his bluffs in, right? Like he has tons of
Yeah.
bluffs here.
You're right.
And
Yep.
our tens
Raising your-
unblock them. Right? Like eights and nines are a little worse here, but our tens are still okay.
The
Mhm.
click back is not that bad.
It's not that bad,
If-
but hey, hallelujah, went check on the turn.
Nice.
So do you bet now?
The heuristic is to bet we have a heart. The jack is a brick. You shouldn't have a jack here very often.
Yeah, that's kinda where I'm at, like. Sometimes I bet to check back the river. um, Just so you don't face like a giant polarized river bet. But I don't know, checking's gonna be definitely a good answer here. I'm just trying to
Yeah,
make an argument for maybe betting.
He's still gonna have a lot of combo draws here. Like it's gonna be hard to call a bet on the river. He's gonna have a lot of pot bets on the river here, eh?
If not worse.
Yeah. But it is the
Yeah.
check.
It's just gonna be a check.
Thought we might find the
The
continuation. but
river
again,
bricks though, and he bets. Then we can just call, can't we?
See, this is gonna be
Not
one
a
of
good
those
river.
cards. Okay, he let us off the hook. You just check.
Okay.
Thank goodness he checked.
Yeah, like that's the kind of river where you're just gonna see like really big bets sometimes.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
he just had a vulnerable top pair he was trying to get value with. I opened this for sure.
Early.
I usually bet like 1 or 1.2.
So
We were looking
before
at this
this,
earlier.
so early on, yeah, we took a look, and
Mhm.
the more there's a high card here, an ace particularly, but even a king, the more it blocks our flopped straights or our flopped flushes, and the more we're gonna check.
Oh, that's pretty insightful. That's very insightful. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
smart.
From early
So it's like,
position,
it's kinda like it's kinda like a. Well, it's not an anti-blocker, it's just blocking you.
it's
Board's
blocking our
blocking
best
your,
value.
yeah.
So
Right,
I
so,
think this is gonna have about a 30% check component.
yeah, my game is pretty much just range bet monotone boards, small, that's what I do.
Works really well in game too.
You should,
Mhm.
but if you find yourself from early position, if an ace or a king flops, you should highly consider checking here.
Yeah, I like the insight, Pete, and it
Right.
probably, stronger hands probably lean towards that. I guess the jack is just. There's too much better that folds, right? Now you can get out of the way.
Like. Gross. Bluffs us with a worse hand. Savage.
Is- Was that
This
a
is
worse
gonna be a
hand? He had
fold.
more equity.
Get rid of it.
He had more
Mixes, but I think
equity,
we
but
can
we were
fold.
technically winning. Yeah. Alright.
Queen,
Careful.
queen jack there mixes, so queen ten's a fold. Not this
Okay.
queen jack.
That's an open.
Here we
Have
go.
a go,
It's a
my
party.
man.
It is interesting that opening this queen 10 is 0.23 chips. Like it's not printing. Oh. Our range wants to bet this king.
Yeah, so not having the back door. I think if you bet, it's gonna drive the sizing up. Cause you're gonna need that fold equity more.
So it's gonna use 2 or 3.
I think it may not.
Yep,
But yeah,
2
so
and
there
Yeah,
is,
she's good.
there is some bigger sizing in there.
The
Just for
heuristic
like,
is
argument's sake, you should look to see what the ones with the backdoor flush draws do.
we get these queen 10s that have a little more equity.
I think they'll prefer smaller. I think the one without the backdoors is gonna be kind of the outlier.
Hey Derek, thanks for joining us today. Queen 10.
Not really, I had it
Uh,
backwards. It's the other way around.
Wants to
Seems
bet.
to prefer smaller bets with the backdoor, without the backdoors.
Yeah, but it's a very marginal difference,
Yeah, it is.
right? The general idea is this is a board. King wants us to bet,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
Don't check a king. Oh, wow. You just get bluffed again. Oh my goodness, it rebluffs.
Yeah, it was clicking. Did you see that?
Yeah, savage. I'm never clicking that.
This is close. I don't fold this, but I don't open this, but I think I should open this.
This is gonna be the very bottom end. It might not be full frequency. Oh, no, it's just a
Okay.
fold. I do put a few of these edge pieces in just to kind of make sure the tapestry gets filled out.
Yeah. That's fair.
All right. Ooh.
So. This is definitely an attractive bet with this hand, cuz there's a ton of good turn cards to barrel, I would
Yes.
think. I would be tempted to bet large on a board like this. I just don't know if like you wanna be doing that with ace high.
Ooh, I don't think this hand wants to get check raised big,
Check.
right? Like this hand's gonna want to realize equity.
Uh,
I think it's gonna want to go small a lot.
Well, we
I'm
say
totally
that, there's
wrong.
quite, yeah, I was gonna say we say
I-
that, but there is some big bets there.
It is the prominent feature here. This hand is looking like it's trying to set up to play for stacks.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of turn cards which you can continue to do that on.
Oh,
Ooh, we got punished. I think you should continue. He's gonna be doing this
oh,
to protect equity some. We got an open ender.
we have an open ender, but we're gonna get our end open then.
I agree. It doesn't feel good.
This is,
Yeah,
I
pretty
mean, we're drawing
gross.
to a chop. We're drawing to a chop with some of the hands that he does this with too, right? Like he has 87 here, 76. If we're
Yeah, I don't know.
blocking his, if we're blocking his bluffs, I guess we're blocking his value too with 79 and 74.
Mm-hmm. I
Guess
think
we
he's gonna
have
do
to.
this. There's gonna be a component of his range that has blocker cards protecting like flush cards also. So like, he may have like the king of spades or something here he's trying to realize with sometimes. But,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, you could definitely pass a spot like this, but I think if there's a non-flush oriented hand that continues, this is it.
yeah, it still can make an ace, right? I mean, I got to admit, I'm finding fold here. Okay, glad it's I'm glad it's not too nitty to fold here, because yeah, it's just a
It feels
troublesome.
bad, man, right? So this is the card that I'm just gonna bluff all in on.
Hmm. So on a four liner, are you gonna get called by worse?
I'm trying to get like two pairs, maybe sets to fold. Things
But
that,
we need them now, right?
I mean, I guess we do. You don't beat any of the flushes that kinda decide they wanna check is the issue.
Yeah.
Like, if he's got a 5-3 of spades. Yeah, I don't know. We do have a straight. We got showdown. You probably just check.
Yeah, I think I'm just checking here.
Jack nine. Yeah, we don't need to bluff that combo.
Oh, what a savage turn lead, eh?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think it's
Yeah.
pretty, it almost got you off a better end. Almost. This
Almost.
is it.
All right,
And yeah,
so. Oh,
So
two
we don't have an
broadways,
overcard.
one's a king.
It's definitely a bet. I would bet. I just don't know if we're gonna go really big because we don't have an overcard. So, us producing raw equity here is gonna, be difficult. without, yeah, you just. If he's got a queen or a king, you're just not gonna be able to beat him in one street.
If he has a queen, we might garner a fold here,
Yeah, maybe.
right? To this type of sizing.
I'm missing big bets here. I'm always betting small in these spots. Like a
Yeah,
third.
Yeah,
it's not bad.
it's
It's
okay.
not a bad bet. Yeah, you can definitely bet.
Yeah, I
Bigger
mean,
here.
you look at it, it's 45%, 55%, right? So, but like these particular spots, when you're under the gun one, you gotta find some bigger bets.
And Corey, this is also a pretty nuanced strategy, like. A generalized small bet, it's been proven by people much smarter than me. That. A general small bet strategy, you're losing marginal EV. These kind of strategies are like. Adding icing on the cake. I mean, this is how you start building edges once you kinda got the basics down.
Okay. Yeah,
So like,
maximizing EV.
you're not making a big mistake by betting small. I don't know if I wanna go that big, Pete, just because it's a
No.
diamond.
Sorry, I'm thinking this is gonna be the size now, right?
Mhm.
We bet big here before, and now we're gonna continue because we don't have showdown. Right, and we're gonna set up the river jam, right? This is gonna go to 26 and he's gonna have 28 behind, so
Yeah,
Mhm.
so what, 1-1.
it's just
You're
checking.
checking.
You're checking. I am getting out of line here. Oh,
You gotta bluff. He's
Yeah.
checked twice to you.
yeah, so
Now,
I
the
think we're gonna
question
use,
is. Are you going for auto folds or are you gonna target queens? So
well,
like. If you're going for queens, you gotta go big. If you're going for his auto folds, you can just like. Go 5-5 or something, but you kinda block the auto folds, right? Like his auto folds would be jack 10, 9-10. So like, kinda got bad blockers, so I think you gotta go big.
yeah, we're still looking to target these two. We're looking to target a 7 or a queen.
So you bet big on the flop, right?
Yep.
Okay, I guess he will. Does he fold sevens to a big bet on the flop? I don't know.
He mixes. He mixes even folding some queens,
Sure.
right? On this king queen board, we just have so much stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So it just wants to give up.
Gives
That's
up.
pretty good. Pretty wild. Yeah, I'm not giving up there.
Yeah, I'm not either.
And he's got one of those sevens you talked about.
Yeah, I'm betting that river to make him fold 7s and queens. So.
This
She
is too
gone.
wide. Yeah, you gotta get rid of this one.
Out of there. One out of the ballpark. Okay, well, made a bit of a adjustment and got the guy off a hand. That bet
This is
check, bet line is usually a desperation play, right? When I see that in here, okay, super locked up equity, all in his.
So. I would not be surprised to see like, okay, so you get a 10, you're blocking pocket tens. You got reasonable backdoor, like a 9's good, a hard's good. Um. I could see an argument maybe for a bigger bet here sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, we are gonna be
Now.
able to barrel some cards.
Right, now the function, it's a function and there is some locked up equity there, so. You can't get too out of line.
Yeah, like
I
it's
do
gonna
like
be
3.3
2
or 5.5. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna
5.5
be
or
5.
3.3.
I just gonna pick these two mostly.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, 5 is also very well represented here, and checking is a big component here.
Right, and I mean, that's the nature of this texture, right?
Yeah, AI connected board.
Perfect. We got to fold.
From a better hand at that. So this is a good open.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
we'll
think
get
that's why
three bet.
betting bigger. Last hand two is better than betting like two. You get more hands like that to fold.
Mm-hmm.
Ace
Ace-
and the queen.
Yeah, ace, queen, two-tone. I know we have second pair marginal made, but the nature of this flop is just gonna really encourage a
three.
bet.
5 or
Yep.
3.
I bet small, probably, just because it's second pair, but I don't know. It-
5.
I could see an argument for bigger
Yeah.
bets, I guess.
He wants to go big.
I would go small personally.
Yeah, I'm probably going 2 or 3 as well.
I think most of the range is going to mix between these two. I think there is going to be some bigger stuff too. So we'll take a look. Yep, there's definitely here.
Not much.
And marginal made hand does check primarily.
Hmm.
So the overall strategy is to bet here, and it mixes the micro size and the medium size. But if you're checking here, it's just fine.
Yeah, yeah, you're not making a mistake checking a hand like that.
And we just get an auto fold here. So, right? That's also the reason why you bet 1.2 there. Right? Is you just clean up a lot of equity. risky.
This is a
Ooh.
bit wide.
This is a bit wide.
It was what, queen 9, queen 8?
King 6 for sure. So queen 8, queen 9, probably.
This
That's an open.
this is something I uncomfortably try to open these
Fold.
days.
Yeah, that's the
Good
same
boy.
here. I
Look
know
at
it's
that
an
point
open, but I
over
don't
one
like doing it
easy.
every time.
0.01.
Yeah.
Now, Saeed, that's versus a perfect opponent. You don't play versus perfect opponents, so I guarantee it's
Oh.
worth more than 0.01.
Yeah.
It's gonna be this time.
Alright.
You got the board way locked up. I could even see arguments for checking or very small.
We can't check a king high board. We're
You're
gonna have
right.
like 0.2% checks.
Yeah, you gotta bet tiny then.
0% checks. It even has some, okay, let's play for stacks type of thing. But yeah, the bottom line is keep the fish on the line.
Yeah.
He can't even put in a chip. All right.
You can definitely
Sixes,
open
Open,
this.
yeah.
easy raise. 3 bets.
I like a check back here.
I like a check back too. Are you betting pocket nines here?
So pocket nines, probably. If,
Yeah.
especially if it interacts with the flush at all.
So I think pocket nines want to bet because they can get called one street by an 8 and a 3. And pocket sixes want to check because they get called one street by an 8 and a 10.
Yeah, that's
Right?
correct.
Only
That-
one street by a 3.
Yep, that's good way to look at that. But it still bets a lot.
The overall strategy bets, but checking is also just fine here. Right? It's a function of
Likes
how
to bet
wide
the-
he is.
Likes to bet that 10 high too, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
10 is
Board.
still a card that's good for us. So 10s are just going to be bet a lot.
I would probe here, I think.
Probe. You have a marginal made hand with a gutter.
Yeah, I would be betting small here to check back rivers sometimes. I think checking's a perfectly fine option. He's double checked to us.
I don't think these sixes want to put more than like two more chips in the pot.
Well, they don't. You don't beat anything. You
Perfect.
gotta call, I think.
Easy call. We set ourselves up with a call on this river by checking the turn.
Under the gun
Ryan
one,
had
you
talked
can,
about earlier, inducing our opponents. There's a good spot where there's an induction spot.
mm-hmm. I open this
Both, yeah,
from
it's
under the gun
fringe.
one.
All right, well, let's see what type of trouble our friend Galen can get into here.
Ay caramba.
Alright. Yo, you're in the
Easy.
driver's seat. Good luck, Dylan.
Easy bet here. I would just bet small though, I think. I'd bet two.
Ew.
I
With
wouldn't be surprised
a
to see some larger betting though.
medium ace high, you don't get better aces to fold. I don't know.
Well, you wanna go bigger?
Yeah.
It goes a little bit bigger.
A little bit bigger, but this is still just fine. Betting small is good.
Yeah, it's,
Betting is
as long as betting is the key.
Fold.
I would play check now. The 4 is not great.
Or is not particularly great.
But look at
But
me. What do I know?
it's still good enough to bet big.
It's kinda crazy that it decides to bet big here.
Yeah, like this is a weird one. Because I would think that he is like when he calls that flop. I mean, he's got some 6, he's got some 4.
That's what I would think so too. Like, it just feels like bad man.
What's his calling range here? He's got all these 4s, all these 6s, and all these kings.
But I guess, yeah, now we wanna size up.
And he's got some garbage. I
Right,
guess when he
so like,
size up, he folds the 6s.
I guess maybe it's targeting 6x. It's kinda weird. Because we're ahead of the garbage, we're behind the 4s. We would have heard about most of his kings on the flop. He's gonna have
Yeah.
some spades, I guess, but some hearts.
Some single aces. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, the board's paired. I mean, I don't even think we really care about single aces.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
good night, Irene.
what, yeah, what are you gonna do?
You got the ace blocker, right? Yeah.
So
Well,
he
it
did,
took us.
he did have a 6, which is,
Yeah.
this line seems crazy to me.
Yeah, that's a weird line.
2.5 barrels to blast off that 6. All right. Okay, well, this one's gonna be easy.
It's super dry and disconnected. I would lean small, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe it goes bigger. I mean, the theme
We
seems to be big.
we
Don't we
unblock
wanna
him.
induce? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we unblock him having a 9 here.
Hmm.
Don't we wanna
So,
keep his bluffs in and induce him to check raise?
yeah, it's not a bad idea. We can go
I do
small.
like 2. I was gonna say, I like 2. That's what I would bet here.
Yeah, it does have a bit of bigger betting, but motion is to bet. It's bet small. He didn't check raise us.
Okay, so it completes the rainbow. I don't know if we get to over polarize here now, but I do like that 5.
Still lets him call with an 8. Still lets him call with a 9. All his flush draws that bricked, if they have a pair, still continue.
No, it wants to go huge.
It wants to go huge. It does not like the 8's connectivity, I guess. So turning some straight draws
Yeah,
makes it make a tough decision with a pocket with a 9. With pressure on a 4 and a 2, but all right. Does have a little bit of checking to protect its range and try and induce a river bet. That has a very easy call against.
Alright, we're just all in then.
Oh,
What?
7 is too dangerous. It connects too well with his hands that have a 9,
I guess so.
right?
So he's
And
gonna have
his
some jack 10, he's gonna have like some 9-7, he's gonna have some 8-7 maybe.
yeah.
yeah. I got to admit, I am clicking the rebuy button here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
me-
not
me
checking that spot.
But he did call our big polarized bet on the turn, so.
Yeah,
let's
see,
see,
that's
rebuy.
the other thing, man. Like a lot of these heuristics, we've kinda got like memorized. you gotta kinda be careful when you start using these big bets because they change like their continuing range so much. At least that's like what I've been trying to work through.
Yeah, he just has a big chunk of value hands in here.
Yeah, there's
Right.
7/8s, 9/7s.
Yeah. And when we go all in, his response is,
Yeah, we just get smoked by two pairs. Like
Yeah,
you
it's a
do,
lot.
you do beat some of these 9x combos, but I think the two pairs and stuff just,
two
yeah, we
pair.
just get,
Yeah, it's 18% of his range here.
yeah, that's
right?
huge. Yeah, we just get smoked by the two pairs.
He has more two pairs than he has top pairs. And his second pairs are gonna fold, so we're gonna get value from his top pairs, most of them, and we're gonna get burned by his sets and two pairs,
And if
which
you look at
comprise
this,
26% of his range here.
yeah, if you look at this step graph here, like he's got the overwhelming nut advantage. Like.
Yeah.
On the right side here, like he's got all the straights, all the two pairs, like we just don't do that kind of. We don't take this kind of line and have all of those in our range.
Yeah.
So
So
we
we're
gotta be more
doing
respectful.
really well here, but when we jam, all of these fold. And we only play against this.
Yeah, I mean, like if you average this out, equities run very close, right? Like. It's gonna be about the same overall. The problem is we don't have the nut advantage anymore, so. We have to behave a little bit on the river.
Yeah, his sets and two pairs are just too prominent in his strategy at this point. Because we have
Right,
that big
yeah.
polar bet. So. Yeah,
Interesting
so
spot.
bigger betting, less streets of value.
Yeah,
Right.
that's right. Mhm.
All right, we'll do a couple more, and then we'll continue on. Check. Oh,
Except he's got 2-3. Womp womp.
well, he's probably not calling a jam on the river.
Probably not.
Probably not. All right.
You're
Oh,
trying to, you're trying to
Oh.
scam us here, Pete. What is this?
Yeah.
how'd that get in there? Must have been left over from. All right. Double deck and bust. Let's go. Ooh,
I mean, I'm gonna play check here, but I could see evidence for a small bet.
yeah, we can get value from a 3. We can get value from a 2. Jack is a good card. Jack's one of the best cards for us. Our range is going to want to bet. I
Yeah.
think there's going to be about a 5% checking strategy here.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's just a spot our range wants to bet so much. And, whoa,
Yeah, you just call, pretty sure.
easy. Love it.
Yeah, show it down.
Ooh, show it down or go for thin value.
Ooh, alright, so what are you targeting for calls?
Ooh, boy.
5x.
He's got like maybe 5-4.
5-6.
He could
Yeah.
have 5-4 here.
Yeah.
5-6.
I would say in game, I am probably going to make an exploitative bet of this size. But against the solver, this is not going to be a good strategy.
Yeah, I'm kind
It's
of
probably a
nervous
check.
about, opening for less than half pot. Like, the times that you're just gonna induce some like crazy shenanigans. To
Yeah.
like the value you're getting ratio, would lead me to check. I mean,
Yeah, it's a check. It does have a bit of value betting, but
Yep.
it's primarily a check.
pocket
Oh,
eights.
greed.
So I like his turn bet a lot, actually.
Yeah, I mean, we just can't do much against it.
Yeah, he really protects himself from a big polar bet, helps him realize equity. Easy open, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
We seem to have gotten ace jack suited a fair number of times
Yeah,
tonight.
I thought so
And we
too.
seem to
Alright.
get 3-bet with it.
40% of a royal flush, easy
We've
call.
got crushed like every time.
Oh
Alright,
my
this,
goodness.
this is like the scariest bet. When I see someone do 10% pot in a 3-bet pot. Like, I just like, this is pocket kings.
Well, I mean, he's giving us the price to call, so we're just gonna call.
Mm-hmm.
Little bit of clicking.
Yeah,
Oh.
we're smoked. Good game. Yeah, you're smoked. Call.
It's top pair, stack to pot ratio is 1, 3-bet pots, we have a gut shot. How, like,
Off jack queen.
do you ever feel that you're the rabbit and you're trapped in the snare? Because that's what
Yeah,
this is.
that's exactly what this is. Like, we're so screwed.
It
Like,
wants
look,
to, but it can't.
it's actually folding some. Like, that's like the solver knows.
The solver is even telling us this is a scam, but we're still falling for the scam.
Right, it's like, we don't beat anything. You don't beat anything anymore. Like, you literally beat nothing. You don't beat ace 10, you don't beat ace 9. You
His
beat,
bluffs with diamonds got there.
Oh my gosh, I hate when I'm playing in game and I'm like, you know, I have ace jack here. There's a 10 and a 9 on the board, and you're sitting there like, well, you know.
does he ever take pocket queens with like the queen of diamonds and do this? Like, I just struggle to find a hand that does this that we beat. Like, I would legit fold.
Yeah, this is the rabbit that couldn't get out of the snare, is still in the snare. The
Yeah, see,
hunter's
Gabe,
coming.
that, yeah, the pot odds thing, man, it'll get you in trouble
Yeah.
when you start doing the math.
Yeah, like I'm looking at it here. You can't fold top pair at 4-1, right?
Like, you got a great price. You got a
But
great
that's
price,
why
don't get me
those
wrong.
people keep doing that shit where they bet small and you're like, oh, I was gonna fold on the flop, but I'm not. So okay, so it's a fold on the solver. That means it's more fold in real life.
It's 0 EV either way. You are
Mm.
completely noodled with your ace jack.
And this is the reason it's important to like have a nice geometric betting size, because you can't get away with hands like this in scenarios like this. You're stuck because the price is just, it's crafted in such a way that it makes your like response indifferent, where it's like, that's almost too much, but not quite enough. So it's like, next thing you know, you just don't have a stack anymore.
When you talk
Yeah,
geometric,
so did you know that how we defined indifferent for people who didn't know what indifferent was? We said indifferent is when you just kind of like, you know, want to vomit.
what do you mean by a
Well,
geometric betting size, Galen? What is that?
so
A big
when
betting
I say,
size?
when
Like
I
you
say
consistently do it?
geometric, when I say geometric betting sizings,
Yeah.
you're dividing your bets into equal fractions across
Okay,
multiple streets to get all of your stack in
okay,
with relation to the pot. So it's like, you know, if you can bet 66% on the turn and have 66 left on the river, it does like some magical stuff to the solver, where the solver, you end up in a lot of these like mixing bets and folds. It just crafts it where the EV is basically leveled out to 0.
alright.
Yeah, so
There's
like
a,
the solver on that last hand, you know, took the 2 bet size on the flop to set up the bet size on the turn, to set up the bet size on the river, right? That he was going to play to just keep us in the pot.
here, I'm gonna BBZ quantitative strategies.
Great pot odds.
I'm gonna post a link to a video you can buy for like $10 in the chat. This guy does a really good job of explaining geometric bet sizing and why it's powerful and how it relates to the solver.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing that in chat, Caleb.
Yeah, man.
Under the gun. All right. That king board, just not gonna find a lot of checks here.
Yeah, same story. Like the hand wants to check, but the range wants to bet, so you bet. Like, I don't think, you could look through my entire database and I don't think you would find a large bet from me from with second pair like that.
Yeah, but it is just hammering down on it.
It's pretty wild, yeah.
Well, that's a good card for our range. It's gonna double barrel here.
Yeah,
With
I
a
mean, you got
marginal
the double
made hand.
gutty. The
We're
double
size
gutty,
up too, aren't we?
I would size up.
Yeah. Probably.
Wait,
Seven.
it's betting large. I mean, I understand why on this texture it wants to bet large, but our hand doesn't want to bet large on the flop. But honestly, like,
Yeah.
it's not
We did-
that much difference in size.
We did take the small bet size option on the flop. But this is just a turn card that's really good for our range.
I know I probably just freak up and just check sometimes.
Mm,
When
I
it's
never
like
check
third
either.
pair, when you have third, I guess.
Well, it's a double gut shot, third paired. And, the board bricked out rainbow, so a lot of like the backdoor flushy draw
Oh,
cards.
you say we want to bluff more when it's rainbow on the turn?
I think
like
so,
his-
yes.
He's gonna have less continues, right? He's not gonna continue with spades, hearts, or diamonds anymore.
That
So
makes
like
sense.
when we bet small here, we're just gonna get a lot more auto folds. So I think we're
Mhm.
just gonna size up small. But what do
JK,
I
we
know?
just, yeah, we just checked. Vivian's a solver.
Vivian's a solver. I don't know. I'm like, I just smell this and I'm like, let's chum the waters here.
So I would be curious, Pete.
Yep.
If we had jack, like jack, you gotta find a jack that doesn't have like completed equity or a pair if we would start betting here. And
Like,
that's a hard task, like, 'cause you just
yeah,
don't have
ace
them in
jack.
range. Ace, jack would be one, that's right. And ace, jack
Bets.
does have some betting. Queen, jack's a straight, jack ten's a pair, jack nine. So like the pair's the overriding factor here is what it looks like.
Yeah, our nines just have showdown, one showdown, our sevens have showdown, one showdown,
Hmm.
right? So our tens,
Even ace, king, look at ace, king. Like, are you checking ace, king here?
never, never. But it's that situation. You just want you kind of want he has a lot of two pairs, and this hand just wants to play a small pot and have an easy bluff catch on the river. Same with pocket aces,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not
protecting your
psyched
checking.
about. I mean, I probably bet ace king more often than I should be, but the strategy makes sense because, you know, you're not psyched about betting ace king and then getting raised or some shit.
Well, we
I don't
just
know.
got one.
I usually bet ace king there, but it's like it runs out really connected. And when you have under the gun, we don't have a lot of that stuff. So I guess they want to, I like the bluff catch on the river plan. You just, because big blind will beat out on the river a lot and you need to have some calls.
Yeah,
Fold this
and
one. Yeah, bullshit. Ace eight,
One-
we're dead. Dead
Folding.
man's hand.
one thing that we've seen from these two positions is two streets of the bigger value. So when you check turns, you allow yourself to bluff catch a big river bet with hands at the top of your range. Right, so those aces and ace kings, which protect your marginal made hands there.
Hmm.
Ooh,
Alright, so I'm definitely betting. I think it's just an argument for sizing. Um. The 10's not great. I would prefer like having like, I don't know, ace five, just unblocking the other ones.
Yep.
But, I would still probably bet a little bit larger. I don't know. The 1.2 seems to be very good. Or two.
yeah, I mean, we want to keep him in with a 7 and a deuce here, right? Even though they're beating us, they're gonna have a hard time realizing their equity. right, on future streets.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so. See, another situation, I could see merit for just managing the pot. But the times we actually hit our flush, we do wanna. Have a little more attractive SPR, so
Have a chance
I
of
would-
getting all the money in.
I would, yeah, exactly, I'd probably bet.
I think this is also a hand that bets here and then can check rivers a lot. So. Yeah, it
Big.
goes even bigger. Pot or over pot. And primarily over pot.
Is that like 125%?
Yep.
Yeah, we're smoked.
Gross.
Good night, Irene. Oh, so gross. Again, completely indifferent. He's got so many bluffs with hearts that missed. And he
We're
has
never
three
calling
bluffs.
that in game anyways.
No. All right. Oh, locked up equity, straight possible, but we hard block it.
So this is one of those hands that it's like. I would be tempted to bet big, but the nature of the board makes me think. Maybe we don't bet as big because of the locked up equity, even though we block it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Isn't it similar to that other one though? Kind of. Shouldn't,
So
where you
like
wanted to
in
bet
most,
the eights, nines and tens. Do you wanna kind of bet big with the tens and jacks here?
yeah, your
Yeah,
most vulnerable
tens
pairs.
are the ones gonna be betting big.
yeah, and ace nine. So I think we're gonna be okay with these two here.
Yeah, I kinda like the 3-3 and the 5-5. I would go 5-5 here. I mean, who am
Yeah.
I kidding?
All three are very viable options, primarily the 5-5. Right? You had the
No
right
small
idea.
bets.
This hand wants protection. We are in early position. We still have aces and kings in our range here. We are best with a gut shot draw.
Complete brick on the turn.
That's like the brickiest of bricks. I think,
Yeah.
I think you go like pretty big here, like front loading some of your value on the turn, like. He's gonna continue with the exact same range, so we can just be greedy.
Yeah, like we went with this sizing. We just continue with this sizing here. 13
I think that's
chips,
good. I think that's probably good, Pete.
or size down because his range got narrower.
Well, see, the thing is, his continuing range is completely like unchanged. Like, if he continued on the flop, he's gonna continue on the turn versus the same like proportion. I would think. I mean, I
Yeah, are
guess
we
some,
gonna? But like, he's gonna have some suited combos that start folding off though now, right?
yeah, maybe some. We're
Those
like,
ones
we're
are gonna
double
be.
blocking some of the draws, though. I would go 13 or even 20 here sometimes. Like, I don't know.
I think when we go this big, we only play against his best value, and I think the value that continues at 8 is also going to continue at 20.
Yeah, maybe so. I'm
Right?
just
We're
thinking
gonna
like,
price out the draws.
if he's got like ace nine, if he's got like 7-8. Those hands are just calling.
Yeah, but if we bet this size, like ace 7 goes, but ace 7 maybe stays here,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, it's true.
But we'll take a peek.
I like 13 personally.
13's the answer. It does have a little bit of this. But the motion is to move down slightly and to centralize in this range here. This is definitely the right size.
Yeah, I think the way you said it's smart, like you're gonna lose his ace sevens and things like that if you go too big.
Yeah,
That and it's just
good.
like, it's just kind of, you leave a really awkward bit behind, like you don't really leave. Like 12, you got 12 big blinds behind.
Yeah.
And you're gonna, because like there's no flush draw, he has no, like his draws are, he only has value and like pocket eights here as his draw maybe. Ooh, I think this is a check.
Yep.
Yeah, I would check.
That 5 is a 2-pair combo card, right?
Nope.
No, all in.
It goes for it.
Yeah, see, you gotta be careful with these in game, right? Like, because it's just,
Yeah,
it's never gonna be. They're not calling with the combos to get that extra bit of EV on the river here, like. It's gonna be a grossly overfolded spot.
yeah, like I'm not betting that river like on the 5. Right? It completes the stuff that he calls
I
too
think
big
the
bets with
solver
too
just wanted to
often.
get paid there.
I think
Yeah, I
the
think
solver's trying to get folds from 2 pairs. Which is, you decide.
pocket tens is like way ahead here. It gets 29 chips. It's too big to check.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. 29 chips, it seems like madness to me. Like,
Yeah.
what's supposed to be calling?
Like his range that still gets here that's beat by pocket
I'll
tens.
nit check this because I'll sometimes, I'm gonna overfold this fucking river.
I
And I
guess he
shouldn't be
just
because he doesn't have much eights from running the gun.
no, but like it's the big blind, so he's just in here with too many 9s.
Just
And again, the heuristic that like, we took larger sizing, so we focalized his range a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like a button versus big blind situation.
And he has an
He has a
8
lot
with
more value.
Right?
he has some 2 pairs here though, like 50 chips. Like they're just printing. Because it's our tens are supposed to bet.
Right, so is he folding any 2 pairs here, Pete?
When we jam, his strategy is does he have 6s and 5s? He calls 6s and 5s. He calls 6s and deuces.
Oh my gosh, like,
Calls
what
them
are we
all.
doing? What are we
9
doing?
deuce,
Yeah,
right?
not
What
folding
are you trying
anything
to get
really.
value from? Like, are you trying to be like ace 9 or something? Like, what are we?
ace nine, king nine, jack nine. But I mean, I don't feel like people call down.
We
Maybe they
get value
do.
from any hand that has a 9.
Those are like auto folds in game. People are just gonna like fold those so quick.
Yeah. But I guess we get to the river, right? There's only because we bet big on the turn, there's only like the 15 chips left. So
I guess, yeah, you just want that rebuy before the registration ends.
We'll get in
all
line.
right,
Mm,
bottom of the bucket.
okay, so like heuristic with like 2 broadways, 2 tone, you're probably gonna see some bigger bets here. This hand doesn't really benefit too much from a bigger bet, though. I don't
Doesn't
think it
it?
matters. I think
Mhm.
like 5. I mean, I guess it does. Like, you get 8s to fold. You get
Because
6s, 7s.
you're folding 2s and 3s, it's gonna push 5s up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 5s are gonna be at the bottom. So 4s and 5s are gonna have the bigger bets, and then 6s and 7s are gonna have smaller bets.
Yeah, I guess that's fair, Pete. Okay, you talked me into it.
All right, sold you on the sold you. By the way, I have some swampland in Florida here. If you want to bet 5s big, yeah, it gets it. He folded an 8.
Yeah, see, there you go,
Like
man.
there's an element of range construction, right? Like we're just going to be able to apply so much pressure on this board. You just gotta flop bottom pair and fold it.
You see that big, like, you got trained, you're like, oh, you can't fold any pairs on the fucking flop. But then it's like on some textures, yep, when you're raised under the gun, it's like, yeah, you're supposed to be folding bottom pair here. And then there's a lot of spots where it's like triple connected, where it's supposed to just fold. And you're like, damn it, I suck. I keep paying people.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to fold jacks. Jacks suck. Just kidding.
All right, we're gonna keep everyone wide. We're gonna bet.
Yeah,
We're gonna get
I like
called
a
by a
small
9,
bet, I
a
think.
deuce. Yep. Well, he floats a lot of aces here. I think this is just gonna check now.
So I could definitely see evidence for double barreling here.
Really?
Maybe not this hand.
I think the ace is
But-
good for our range.
Yeah, I mean, it would be like a completely range exploit thing here.
Mhm.
But, the heart's not great either. I think you'd want a heart if you were gonna do it. Like, I'd be curious to see if like the jack of hearts barrels sometimes here.
We'll take a look at that briefly.
I'm stretching a bit here, quite a bit, actually.
I don't think that's that unreasonable.
Okay, so yeah,
Yeah,
jack
the
of
jack of
hearts,
hearts
you can
does-
keep going.
move the betting frequency up to about half the time,
Mm-hmm,
and it just continues small. But again, the motion is to bet big here, right? Like the hands that small are aces, and they're balanced by these jacks and tens.
Right. and you got like some fringy queens in there.
Yeah, essentially, this is balancing your nuts.
Mm-hmm. And I think we played check on the turn?
We checked on the turn. It was 71%.
Uh, do you ever try to get folds from a queen or value from a nine?
Yeah,
I
it's
don't think
tough.
so. I think you just check.
Yeah,
It
I think
feels,
he has
it feels,
a queen and a nine, or queen and an ace as often as he has a nine here.
mm-hmm. Yeah, it just feels like a two street hand, but it's not. Well, okay, there it
Yeah.
is. Some,
So let's see if we can get check raised. No. Just the fold. Like, but here's the thing. If he's folding pocket eights, is there value in him betting pocket jacks?
well, so you gotta look at the thing. Alright, is he calling nines? What's he doing there? Like, what's
How
the
many
worst
nines
calls
does he
he's got?
Here's the big blind. He's going to have a lot of nines. So if all his nines are calling, it's probably good. But oh,
You're getting bluffed by nines.
yeah, like he calls 30% of the time, and he raises on pot.
Well, that's the problem with opening the action on the river.
Yeah,
Yeah, that used to be
Yeah.
a really big weak one. I get punished for that all the time. Didn't bet any on the river.
Right. Now, I will say, like, this range is probably like not being executed in reality as much as you think. Especially by like nines. I think nines probably just play call a lot.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think
looking
so.
at it, like the hands that are raising us are an ace, which we just fold against, a queen, which we just fold against, and the nines.
Yeah.
Nine deuce is two pair, nine six is two pair, nine. So he's only bluffing us occasionally with 97, 95, 94, and 93. And we get calls from some twos and some threes and fours and sixes and eights. So I guess it's probably okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those situations, like you have to decide in game. Like, if you got the calling station tag on the guy, definitely throw a bet out there, but you know, if he's got
That's
a nit
actually
tag.
what's so important when you're analyzing your freaking river situations.
Mhm.
Basically, the further you are in the tree, the less you should use GTO.
Yeah,
The guys here too, like they're not going to find these raises as much. So, and your hand is easier fold against a raise. So
oh yeah, 100% Pete, like. Ace nine is probably, well, ace nine will raise cuz it's two pair, but like ace 10, probably just gonna snap call.
easy call for him. Like it's not going to go for the value of putting us in a bad spot. So
Right, so this
I-
is a open.
yeah, it's a creepy open. 965. Oh,
Oh, boy.
Oh, I
Yeah.
think this is a spot where we can do it. It's king 10
Maybe.
that specifically is like, yeah, our tens want to bet big, let's go.
I think you'd wanna have a spade.
Oh yeah, I mean, whatever.
yeah.
Maybe some.
78 is in his range too, and sixes and fives and
I
nines.
don't
Like
care
he's
about
got.
no 78.
I don't care about those 78. Give me a big bet. Okay, Viv, how big?
whatever you bet with tens. So
Okay.
like, I guess let's go 5, 50, I mean 5, yeah, let's see. It's gonna say aren't. Oh
Nope.
no, just regular 335 is better. It's
Yep.
it's good. Just don't bet super tiny. You can check. But I feel like it's because ace 10 is gonna check more often.
Sure.
And king 10, we don't really care if he raises this. We don't care. Oh, see, we hit a king. We got rewarded for our bet.
All right, Vivian, you stepped in the bucket and you found yourself a fish. What are you gonna do now with this king?
I'm betting again. Yes, it's.
I think this is a precautious spot personally.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like, yeah, we hit a king, but like we can also realize our equity, but then we can also put our money in and then check the river back. So you're right. It's sort of like, if we're betting, it's probably that. I think
So remember, when the king or ace of spades shows up here, it blocks a lot of our flushes. So we still have all our
I
ace high
mean,
flush.
checking and then calling a river bet is like the old Jonathan Little strategy where it's like, hey, you now like that made me so much money when I didn't know shit about poker. And I was just like, he's just like, yeah, okay, you hit showdown value now. Let your opponent bluff on the river.
Yeah, but they still have a ton of draws we can charge them for here.
Yeah, that's why my first instinct was betting.
Okay, so what's your decision, Viv?
I hate you. It's gonna be, I guess it's gonna be 8.9. No.
Oh,
Eh.
small.
I said check was good.
Check is good. So the flush completing here is bad for us, right? It
I like
leaves us
that
with
insight. I like that insight because like when the flush completes on a different card,
yep.
like what if the
The
10 comes in?
the two of spades is gold mine for us, but the king of spades is danger bay.
Oh, yeah, it makes sense.
Oh, well,
Like
I mean,
you don't need to give us 2 pair here.
we're
Yeah,
definitely gonna call this.
I might fold here. I don't know, I'm a nit.
I mean, we beat all of the single pairs. We beat all of the other 2 pairs as well.
I know we beat all the other 2 pairs. I mean, the
Yeah,
thing is
straights
though,
got their
in
own two
game, I feel like
sides, flushes there.
people aren't bluffing 4 flushes as hard because I do make the call a lot on 4 flushes. And a lot of times it's because I have a flush too, and they almost so you can fold sometimes, but
I
usually
was gonna
small.
do that actually, just bluff it all in.
Yeah, this is pretty savage, right? 0 EV, 0.01 EV, 0.01 EV. You can't really make a mistake here, but no decision is good. We're getting the rabbit in the snare today.
Basically, you're not making money when this happens, basically.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, what the hell is he doing? Value betting his 4 high flush, his 4 high flush. He's value betting.
Alright,
Yeah.
ladies and gents,
I'm
it's my
done with
bedtime.
this
I'll catch you
game.
guys soon.
Bye, Galen.
Right. Take it
Have a
easy,
good one.
Galen. I think we'll do 1 or 2 more and then we'll wrap up for tonight. Almost 11. All right, raise it up.
Yeah, I was like, I probably should go to bed sometime too because I need to get some sleep.
Ooh, 3 bets. Too strong to fold?
We're not folding.
Too strong to fold. Good. Oh, he checks. This
This
is
is what gets me in
suspicious.
trouble. Yeah. We're in position, we check it.
Yeah, I think I'm checking as well. Pot
Checking.
control.
You're just gonna let well, I guess we have a king, but you could let a queen or an ace roll off here. Yeah, majority
Bet.
betting, but checking is still just fine here.
Here
Oh, the
comes that queen. You
disaster.
called it.
Queen of flush. But we didn't check the flop to fold on the turn. Even though it's the worst card in the deck. Well, maybe the ace of spades. No, because we unblock his ace of spades flushes here now too. Okay. Oh, we're getting scammed. Oh boy.
Are we just call it and rebuy?
Yeah, you just call.
So he has some bluffs here with the ace of spades.
Yeah, you could have ace, queen, ace, jack, spades.
Yeah, he's not turning king, queen, or he's not turning ace, king into a bluff here. All right, it just calls. He has enough bluffs. Yeah, ace of spades.
There we
Thank goodness.
With the 5.
All right. That was a great one. Gross spot. Hold on tight. It's a little bit
Close your eyes
dangerous.
and click the call button.
Yeah. Get ready with the rebuy.
Yeah,
Oh, now we have a massive stack of chips. Let's go. All right, king jack off.
I think we fold the offsuit or four bet.
Hold the laundry.
Yeah. It still calls 45%. Wow.
They'll call. Well, I mean, it's king jack. It's still pretty good, right? Remember, he's got a bunch of like suited nines that he's raising here and a bunch of aces that he's raising. So like our kings are still pretty safe. When a king flops, I mean, he's going to have ace king, but he's not going to have very many other kings in his range. All right, take it easy, Al. Oh my goodness, he got us with the king 10.
Yeah, so that's a fold, like that's the bottom of our under the gun range, and it actually fucking folds to 3 bets in a lot of spots. Pretty much if you're not the button, and maybe sometimes the cutoff, then you're folding your damn king jack to 3 bet.
Ooh, king 8 suited. Gonna fold here?
Yeah. If you're in later positions, we don't fold, but when
You
we're
need a 9.
in early position, that's the bottom of our opening range and or close.
All right. Well, I can't fool you with this. So we've escaped a couple of 3 bets here. All right. I'm gonna get in trouble with this hand for sure. Oh, paired king board. We're just gonna get after it. I don't think there's gonna be any checking here. Yeah, no checking. That's small a ton. He calls. The flush completes. The king of flushes out here. The queen of flushes out here. We are hard blocked on flushes that don't contain the ace of spades. But we have a lot of trip kings here still.
So what do
Are
we
we
do?
gonna barrel?
I make a mistake and I bet 4, but that's what gets me in trouble, right? 'Cause
Yeah, I think you bet
I'm too new.
big. I think you bet big or just check.
Okay,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
flush
checking makes
completing.
sense, like, we don't need to really, when we break our backdoor flush, we're less incentivized to bet. You can get in huge trouble with this hand just blasting, and you're like, wait, what happened? How did I get here? And then you just check on the turn.
Yeah, there is some
When we
betting.
hit our backdoor flush, then we get a bet.
Yeah,
And we can
but
bet sometimes just like if you think they're, I mean, honestly, I would lean towards double barreling more often than not when you're with your air. But this combo can't, like, it's honestly, people fold to double barrels. And that's probably what made me get more money. I was double barreling more. So you can bet, if you're like, oh, I don't know if I should bet or check. And you just
Yeah.
bet, and you'd be surprised how many folds you get. But
Yeah,
it's
this
just,
spot-
because it's missed the backdoor flush, that's why it leans toward the check, because you're just like, fine, fuck it.
Yeah, this spot, like, we don't have spades in range very often when the king and the queen come out here. We only have the ace of spades in here. So our strategy becomes a lot more check heavy.
Yeah, I definitely learned that, or I mean, got
Yeah.
this in this session.
The ace probably helps too, right? You have showdown value, beat some of his.
We
Yeah,
beat some of his
ace
complete
highs
air.
do like to
Yeah.
check back sometimes.
So
If not, it doesn't make it the bottom of our range.
you have a pocket nines with the nine of
Oh.
spades, but he's still afraid. Like, we still have a lot of full houses here, so he has to be pretty careful with his flush. So. Let's do one more here. Couple of octopuses. We got 3 bets. We're supposed to defend our pairs against 3 bets. I took a look at my database. This is a very thin spot for me. So I know it's going to defend
Yeah.
it, but look how thin it is.
Spare, yeah, you can just careful with
But,
that against population too. Not three
I
betting
mean,
enough.
happy days.
Yeah.
There's only one button for me to click here. And we are ahead. We want to keep the fish on the line. Ooh,
It looks so.
yeah.
We only have 20 big blinds, so I think we just
Yeah.
shovel the money in.
I don't want to make it like, I'm not afraid of the river. Like, this hand is so strong. We're not really afraid of the texture changing quite as much on the river. But it is only a half pot bet, so I'm not surprised if it's going to bet both of these sizes here. Even smaller.
Wow, that's really so.
Yeah, like I would have used this size in game a fair amount. But yeah, it's just soaking him in. It doesn't want him to fold anything. So ahead. And just
Great
bricks.
card.
Yeah. Look at him. He called King 10 with our 4 big blind bet. If we bet bigger, we lose this hand. So
Yeah, that's true.
yep, this is a hand that just wants to keep the fish on the line. It doesn't care about the paired board. No matter what card comes on the river, it's never gonna fold. So
I just kind of figured he wasn't folding very much on the turn, so we could just get max value.
Yeah.
From a lot of his draws, but
all right. Well, I think we'll wrap it up here for tonight. Thanks everyone
Night.
for attending, and we will see you guys next week when we move into the blinds and have some big blind work at 40.